Man is sometimes extraordinarily, passionately in love with suffering. Fyodor Dostoevsky. The secret pleasure of suffering. Have you ever felt good while being sad? Like the heartbreak, the loneliness, it somehow made you feel more alive than happiness ever could? Most people believe suffering is bad, something to be avoided. But what if, deep down, suffering makes us feel special? When we suffer, when we're wronged, when we feel deep pain, don't we also feel something else? A quiet pleasure, a sense that no one understands us, that we've seen something dark and true about the world. And that makes us different, maybe even better. There was a time when one cried so hard, they felt cleansed, felt important, imagined others watching, seeing this tragic, misunderstood figure. And for a moment, they felt good, not happy, not healed, but something deeper, like their suffering had meaning. The sweetness of imaginary revenge. We say we'd never hurt anyone. We wear innocence like a mask. But in our minds, we're cruel, cold, powerful. We make our enemies beg, in silence. And even if it's just a fantasy, the revenge feels real. Then the moment comes to confront them. We freeze, shrink, apologize. Let's get into the mind of Dostoevsky's most disturbing character, the underground man of notes from underground. A man terrifyingly honest, painfully aware, and unafraid to expose the darkness we all carry. He thinks with such relentless clarity, he calls, consciousness is a disease. A mind so alive, it eats itself. Meet Dostoevsky's underground man. Bitter, brilliant, broken. A man not just in pain, but addicted to it. This scene captures his emotional collapse during a dinner with old classmates he resents. Trapped between craving their validation and despising their indifference, his mind cracks. He storms in, trembling. You will suffer like I have. He feeds on the fantasy of their shame, a cruel, intoxicating high. His anguish is his armor, his curse, his only truth. But their silence mocks him. He screams, "See me, fear me." Nothing, just laughter. He collapses inward. "Forgive me." But even his voice betrays him. Why? Because the rage dies in his worthlessness. And that love pain, so alive just moments ago, crumbles when no one sees it. How often do we lash out to be noticed, enjoy our hurt, only to end up apologizing? We chase that bitter sweetness, but in the silence, we're left small. Finding identity in suffering. Some don't run from love because they don't want it. They run because pain feels safer, familiar, intimate. There's a strange comfort in it, sometimes even pleasure. They've worn suffering like a second skin. To let it go would mean letting go of themselves. Love demands surrender. Kindness feels like exposure, raw, unbearable. So they push it away, sometimes gently, sometimes with cruelty, because misery doesn't judge. Loneliness doesn't ask for change. And in the quiet ache of their own suffering, they feel alive. In Notes from Underground, he meets Lisa, a young prostitute, worn by life but not yet broken. She lives on the edge of society, like him, unseen and discarded. But unlike him, she still carries hope. She still believes in love. He speaks to her not with kindness, but with cruelty, masked as truth. Tells her her life is worthless, that love is a lie. She doesn't argue. She listens, not because she agrees, but because she sees what no one else sees. A man drowning in his own despair. And then, she does something no one else has done. She comes to him, not for money, but for connection, for the truth she sensed beneath his bitterness. For a moment, he has a way out of loneliness, out of anger, out of the prison he's built. She offers compassion, a chance to be seen, to be loved. His inner voice says, I couldn't bear her kindness. It was too pure, too close. I wanted to scream, to wound her, to remind her that I don't belong in her world of light. I belong here, in the dark. That's where I've always been. That's where I know who I am. To accept her kindness would mean shedding that identity. And without his pain, he is no one. The prison of our own making. Sometimes, the walls that trap us aren't built by others. They're built by us, out of fear, out of old wounds, out of the strange comfort we find in our pain. We say we want freedom, but we cling to the chains because they're familiar. And in some quiet, twisted way, that suffering becomes a place we enjoy. Not because it feels good, but because it feels like home. The underground man says, I don't act, I only think. I rot in thoughts so sharp they almost feel like pleasure. They wound me, but I feed on them. Action means change, and change means risk. Better to sit in my corner, humiliated but untouched. They think I'm bitter, but they don't understand. Bitterness is warm. Bitterness is mine. There's a certain pleasure in suffering, raw, undiluted, and deeply ours. It may not heal us, but it never lies. So ask yourself, what part of your pain have you started to love? And are you ready to let it go, if it means losing the only self you've ever known?